Welcome to 10 Ways to Use Chrome Music Lab in your classroom. I'm Jennifer Bailey from SingtoKids. You can find my TPT store by searching SingtoKids, all one word. Feel free to hit the follow button for updates and search the many categories for resources you might like. Also, if you like music ed blogs, you can find me at www.singtokids.com. There you will find a variety of topics from distance learning, pedagogy, classroom management, and more. You can also search categories under the Find It Fast tab. What will you need for today? Your laptop or desktop computer, web browser with the URL that's listed below, or you can simply Google Chrome Music Lab and internet access. Our objectives during our time together are listed here. We're going to learn 10 ways to use Chrome Music Lab in your classroom, how to share lessons with your students, and how to have students share their assignments with you. So let's get started. The first app we're going to discuss in Chrome Music Lab is called Melody Maker. There, students can create original melodies by clicking on boxes within a grid. Each box represents a pitch, and it is color-coded to align to the pitches that you use with your boom whackers or resonator bells. For this particular app, I like to assign students an opportunity to notate a familiar tune that we've learned in class. For instance, we've learned the Song Closet Key, and I give them an opportunity to explore playing Closet Key using this app. And as you can see, there's a tempo button where students can play with the tempo. It's a very basic app. There's not a lot that they can do with it, but it's a great first step into allowing your students to create music in the classroom. Our next app is called Rhythm. In the Rhythm app, students can explore rhythms that are written or grouped in groups of 3, 4, 5, or 6. They can also explore a variety of percussion sounds. With this app, I like to invite students to create specific rhythm patterns and identify which character they used for that rhythm pattern. For instance, I might give my students 4 rhythm patterns in notation and then ask them to recreate that rhythm pattern in this app. I'll introduce each character for you. So as you can see, the app already has rhythms that are built in. But now we can go back and begin to play with these rhythms by clicking on different areas, thereby creating different rhythms and getting to hear different timbres. Our next app is called Spectrogram. The first thing I do when using this app is simply to define what a spectrogram is. That's a visual representation of the spectrum of frequencies. And so it would be important for students to not only know what a spectrogram is, but also what are frequencies. This is a great app to use if you teach a science of sound unit to your students. In this app, students can explore a variety of timbres that are already pre-recorded for you, such as harp, flute, or trombone. What I like to do is invite students to explore other instruments or sounds in their home or at school and record them using the recording function and have them represented by the spectrograph so they can see and hear what those sounds look like and what they sound like. This is Spectrogram. And you can see the very first option is the recording option, where students could record a sound in their home, a sound in the classroom, an instrument that's not represented here, and get to see and hear what it might sound like using Spectrogram. Our next app is called Chords, and there students can explore a variety of major and minor chords. They do so by clicking on one key to hear a chord based on the root. Now, when I say the root, I mean that's the key they click on, but they get to hear the full chord. I like to challenge students to click on the chord root and then accompany themselves singing a familiar song. So they might be able to sing a song that has a tonic and a dominant chord, and they would have to press where the tonic and the dominant fit in. Let me show you. And as you can see, you can switch from major to minor chords. The challenge with this particular app is that it's laid out as a keyboard. And if your students don't know what keys are on the keyboard or what keys correlate with what pitch, that could be a challenge. I often give them a picture of this and put the notes on the keyboard and connect that to tonic or dominant so they know what to press and where to access certain things. The next app is Arpeggios, and this is where students explore a variety of major and minor chords. It's a little bit more advanced than the chord app that we just looked at, in that students can click on the arrow buttons to change the inversion of a chord. I like to challenge students to click on chords of simple songs to create an accompaniment. So similar assignment as to the chord app, but this one is just a little bit more advanced. So again, I would have to define that C would be the tonic, and that F would be a subdominant, and a G would be a dominant chord. And you can change instruments within this. You can also have kids play with tempo, slowing or increasing the speed of the chord. So just some different ways to play with harmony for your students. I tend to teach chord roots and then chord tones with my students and connecting it to tonic, dominant, and subdominant function, but that's based on how I teach. And you can certainly take this and adapt it in the way that you teach harmony to your students. The next app we're going to discuss is called Kandinsky. And when I do this particular app, I think it's really lovely to connect with your art teacher and have your art teacher show some work by Kandinsky. He was a Russian abstract artist. And the neat thing is that students can explore creating pictures and changing timbre with color. So let me show you. This is a great app to really demonstrate for students, because what they may not understand is that if you create certain shapes, that you'll get very distinct sounds. So if I create a circle, that will create a face that sings. But if I create a triangle, then that creates a percussive sound. Now I can hit the play button and hear my piece. I can also click the button to the right to take things away. So the neat thing about that is you can also have discussions about texture, about thick and thin texture and within composition. The next app we're going to be sharing is Voice Spinner. I like to use Voice Spinner to introduce tempo to students. Tempo is how fast or slow the music is performed. Students can record themselves saying their name or a phrase, and then they can explore the tempo of how that's performed. They can also reverse it so that it plays backwards, and it's just a fun app for kids to explore. You'll notice you have to move down to get. Hello, my name is Jennifer.
Hello, my name is Jennifer.
Hello, my name is Jennifer. Reconnaissez mi amor. Reconnaissez mi amor. Reconnaissez mi amor.
So just an odd little app, but I also like that they get to see frequencies and see how their words or sounds are represented, similar to that Spectrogram app that we shared earlier. The next app I'm going to share with you is Songmaker. Now, Songmaker is very similar to Melody Maker, but it just has more features available to your students. So the first way I'm going to use Songmaker is through composition. Students can create their own song by clicking on rectangles within the grid. And we always make that connection, just like in Melody Maker, that those rectangles align with colors that align with pitches from our boom whackers and bells. So I like to invite students to notate a familiar song first before I have them create their own unique individual compositions. So again, taking a song that they've learned from class, Closet Key, Starlight, Starbright, whatever that might be. You'll notice that when you leave rectangles empty, that those serve as rests. And I think that's really important to model for students because otherwise they just fill every space. You can change instruments within this. You can play with tempo, making things fast or slow. You can record yourself with the mic, but most importantly, you can save your work. So students can copy that link and send it to you in an assignment to share what they've created on the app. And I think that's a fabulous thing. I used that a lot during distance learning this past spring. One of the things I like about Songmaker is it's such a rich app that there's so much I can do with it. So the next thing, once I've had students play with a familiar tune, then we talk about adding harmony. So, connecting the work we did in Chords and Arpeggio, bringing that back into adding harmony into a song. So I begin by giving students a familiar song for music class and demonstrate how to add chord root harmony. And then they can replicate that through the entire song or create their own melody with a harmony as well. So here's a song that I already created. notice I didn't add the harmony through the whole song, and the reason is I wanted to model. There's do, so, do, and now can they add the rest of the harmony for me? And then they can play it back. And again, the lovely thing is they can hit that save button and send the link to me, and I can see that they've completed the assignment. The other thing is there's no right or wrong. The students can replicate my harmony. They may choose to do a different kind of harmony. Maybe they choose to do full chords instead of a chord root. Maybe they choose to do an inversion of the chord. So I think it's fascinating to see and hear what my students are audiating or thinking musically in terms of harmony. So this app has so many different things that you can do with it. The last way I like to use SongMaker is by having students add rhythms to the compositions that they create. So again, I always begin with a familiar song for music class and demonstrate how they can add the rhythms, and then the students replicate the whole activity by creating their own song. And again, just depending on how I've built the lesson, whether they're creating their own song and saving that link, and then we edit it to add the harmony, and then we edit it again to add their rhythms. It's a wonderful thing to build a rich composition project with your students. So this is an example of SongMaker where you're adding rhythms. And again, you can choose the percussive sounds that you want in there. So I already have a few percussive sounds in there. Now I'm going to add some more. And now I'm going to play it back. And again, you can hit that save button and have students send you the link so that you can hear their individual compositions. This is such a phenomenal app to use with students. And in fact, I'll tell you that I have notated probably about 15 different songs that I use with my students. I know that Katie Wardrobe from Midnight Music has a lot of music programmed in this and has exercises built for her students as well. I used one of her Star Wars tunes this past May with my upper elementary students. There are a variety of YouTube videos where people have notated themes from different theme shows, from different shows or video games. So there's just so much you can do with this particular app. And I love that in this instance, I can save work and send students the link to a song where they're going to finish the song for me or add to it, but also students can save that work and edit over time and then share their work with me by simply sending me the link. So how do you share lessons with your students? Again, depending on your learning management system, if you're using Google or Google Classroom, I just create assignments using Google Slides or a PDF with the live link to the Chrome Music Lab app that we're going to use. I give explicit instructions for each activity. Oftentimes I'll videotape or screen shot the activity and show step by step what they're going to do, or screen capture a video of me explaining it. And then I always guide students on how to save the links and send their compositions back to me so that I can see and hear their work. How do I have students share their lessons with you? Well, the only app that really allows students to share their links is SongMaker. And so that's the only one that will allow you to save your work, capture a URL and then send it back. The other ways I've had students do this is to have a screenshot of the assignment or screen capture the assignment using an app like Screencastify if they really want to share something unique that they've done. So those are great ways that they can capture their work and send it back or share it with me. Well, thank you so much for attending my session today, 10 ways to use Chrome Music Lab in your classroom. As always, you can reach out to me with your questions at singtokids@gmail.com or through my website, www.singtokids.com. I'll have a link in the comments below with my session handout. It's also going to be in my TPT store as a freebie for the foreseeable future, and I hope that this was helpful for you. And thank you so much for attending. Bye-bye.